Shalom, Ahab, Wa Baraka. First and foremost, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, Waharakadash. Also, double honors to all the apostles, the prophets, the elders, and the disciples bringing out this 100% truth. And I'm just going to get into it. People are celebrating Thanksgiving. I'm bringing out a class. First of all, I'm a Gadite. My grandmother is Apache, which has nothing to do with anything other than how my personality is going to be. And my grandfather is a Cherokee. Full-blooded. Remember? The Cherokees were reclassified as niggas. Don't forget that. Because that happens a lot in society. That's nice. I'm gonna put that right there. Let's start off by let me get my other Bible real quick. Yeah, it was too loud in the house, so build my own area out here. And this is all, like I said, it's all recycled material, and everything here is free. Every single thing you see was for free. I had to recycle it and build it all myself, but oh well. It's better than paying for it. Let's get into this. Let's start in the book of 2nd Esdras. Go to chapter 13, and we're going to start at verse 40. Second Esdras chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own lands in the time of Hosea the king, whom Shalmaneser the king of Assyria led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. So they were taking our people and putting them into slavery. But the northern kingdom, our people, they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth. And the heathen are all the people, not only the wicked other nations, but also wicked 2/3 Israelites amongst them at this time. They're also like heathens, because they're the ones that bring the curse on you. You be around these heathens when he gets the curse, and you might fall in with them. Anyway, that's why you rebuke and avoid. So they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. So they're going into this land that no one's ever been to before. That's what it's saying right there. Verse 42, though. Let's read why they went into this land that no man had ever dwelt. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. So they're going to this new land to keep their laws, their statutes, and all of their commandments. Let me keep going though. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. So they jumped into boats. Hold on. That's not the right boat. Never mind. That's a slave ship. But they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs from them and held still the flood until they were passed over. So when they jumped on these boats, the Most High made the waters nice and smooth for them so they could sail right through. Pretty much is what it's saying. He held back the floods. He shewed the he showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Ashereth. So, if you've ever heard of Native Nation, and myself also, we've always called this place Ashereth. And that's just, I've always, since I was pretty much a teenager, I've known that this is Ashereth. And not what Americo Vespucci calls it. But anyway. I'm just reading the next verse down, which it's very interesting. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, until now. We're here now. And now when they shall begin to come. So, but we're going to move on from that. I was just showing you how we got here. We were the first ones to dwell in this land. So all those History Channel shows that you're watching are lies. When they tell you, in fact, they like to say, oh, well, the Vikings were here first. Well, that's a very interesting fact, because if you were to look up what the Vikings were, you would realize that the Vikings kept a very strict health law. They were super clean. They were great farmers. And they had a book of laws. They were melanated people. And like I said, they did go out and destroy everything and take from everybody when they went out, but when they came back, they were just normal farmers. And in the way they described the true depiction of the Vikings, they sound like Israelites to me. They don't sound like this. The way they show you on TV, it's this nasty, evil person biting into a fucking turkey leg and drool and spit and slime coming all down the side of his face while he drinks wine and pulls horns. It doesn't say that. That's a Hollywood depiction. So even when they try to say that somebody else came here first, it always turns out, and when you read about the true person, it sounds like it was us anyway. That's why I brought up the Vikings. But moving away from that, we were here first. Let's jump over into the book of Hosea. Go to chapter 11. We're going to start at verse 10 and go from there. Hosea chapter 11 and verse 10. They shall walk after the Lord. He shall roar like a lion. Then he shall roar. When he shall roar, then the children shall tremble from the west. We are the children from the west. They shall walk after the Lord. He shall roar like a lion. When he shall roar, then the children shall tremble from the west. They shall tremble as a bird out of Egypt, and as a dove out of the land of Assyria. And I will place them in their houses, saith the Lord. They shall tremble as a bird out of Egypt. So it's literally talking about removing us from captivity and putting us back in our own land. That's why it says, I'll place them back in their own houses, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So let's go ahead and keep going. Let's jump over to the book of Deuteronomy. So the reason why I brought that out is I wanted to show you that it's talking about the children in the West. We are the children in the West. If you go to any other country, we're considered Westerners. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. let's go to chapter 33. And we're going to start at verse 1. And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death. So, let's jump right down to Gad. Because Moses is blessing everybody before he dies, but I'm just going to skip right to Gad. So, just jump down to verse 20. And of Gad he said, Blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion, and teareth the arm with the crown of the head. So, the tearing of the arm is, how would I say it? Like when you're blood brothers, you guys can poke a little, and then you shake hands or whatever. That's what the tearing of the arm is. But I'm just showing you that I'm proving who God is in the scriptures, and that way we can bring it up to real time. Let's jump over to Chronicles. The Chronicles of the King. So, First Chronicles, and let's go with chapter 12. First Chronicles, chapter 12 and verse 8. And the Gad and of the Gadites there separated themselves unto David into the hold to the wilderness men of might, and men of war fit for the battle, that would handle shield and buckler, whose faces were like the faces of lions, and were as swift as the roes upon the mountains. So, those are talking about actual mountains right there. But what it's saying is Gad separated himself to David as a army. The Gadites did. All the ones that were men of might that could fight. The ones that knew how to use the sword and the shield. And whose faces were like the faces of lions. Now here's another dead giveaway of who we are. What are we known for when we fight? We're known for wearing war paint. So when it's talking about whose faces were the faces of lions, it's because we wore war paint. And we were as swift as a roe upon the mountains. We were swift like a deer, and we cannot be caught. Why? That's just who we are. We're badass like that. The Most High made us that way. We're very good fighters. And it doesn't even matter. It's like, you ever heard Eazy-E say size ain't shit? Well, it's true. It's true. It's true. I've seen a Gadite knock out, the skinniest Gadite knock out the biggest person. So, did you see littlest Israelites anywhere? I don't care what tribe you from. I know everybody's seen that YouTube video where that dude's like 4'11", and that big Assyrian was like, "Come on, let me touch you." And then he swung, and that little Israelite, wham, knocked him out so cold, the dude fell like a lumberjack cutting down a tree. So all of Israel has got that special power, but Gad was separated because we were fighters. Everybody's got their like I said, their special abilities. Let's jump over to the book of Psalm and go to the chapter 140. Go to chapter 49 now. 149. They're both in there. So Psalm chapter 49. And let's just let's get a little background first. The natives, you know, we were doing just fine until one day the pilgrims showed up. And they came in and they pretty much just took over. In fact, let me read it, and then we're gonna have to get into the story of Thanksgiving now. I'm just gonna read verse 11 because I'm gonna get to a point about a certain people and the trend that they've started. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So when the pilgrims came here, or actually I forget what the correct name is, but it's a map maker, I think is what he was, named Americo Vespucci, who claims that he discovered this place and named it after himself. So now we're all in America, and the pilgrims come in, and it's like this. Let's say here's the land the pilgrims have. Oh, here. Here's our land, okay? Here's our land, and here's the pilgrims' land next to us. And so in our land, we're growing all of our food, and we go over. We don't really like these motherfuckers. I'm gonna tell you right now from the beginning, they stink. They've never seen a toothbrush. They don't take baths or showers. We literally had to teach them to clean themselves. We had to show them breath sweeteners because we're actually the ones that invented toothpaste and all that. But anyway, so here's their land. We're teaching them how to grow their own crops so they can eat during the winter. Now over here on our land, we're growing and they're growing. So everything starts off the same, everybody's happy. But by the end, their crop still looks like that. And ours looks like that. And they're thinking, you know, I always have this vision that they justify in their own minds that we try to sabotage them because they don't know how to grow their own food. But if you ever tried to grow food, the first time you do it in a new place, it seems to not do as well. And over a period of time, you get used to the weather and the climate and everything around you, your environment, and you start to grow better. But this is their first crop. It did not come out. Our crop, super abundant. So abundant that they decided that they would just ditch their crop and come over and rape, rob, murder, and burn down our villages. To the point where George Washington, after they've done this for a period of years, George Washington created a holiday to give thanks on this day. So on the harvest, they're going to kill all of our people and take their food. There was never a meal where we sat down and ate with a bunch of scumbags. That's not real. That's just something that you guys learned. I mean, some made up story. I don't know where you guys were. I don't know where that story came from. But now I gotta find this page again. Believe me, it wasn't easy last time. But anyways, so when you start talking about Thanksgiving, you gotta understand that you unless you know that there was no food involved other than them stealing the crops that we had and burning down our villages, there wasn't a meal. We didn't sit down and eat together. I'm sorry, it just never happened. That is a made-up fable. And what is a fable? Look it up. It means Jewish lie. So if you're getting stuck in fables, let me turn this back up. You can see all that. Then you're getting stuck in Jewish lies. Let's jump over to the Book of Deuteronomy chapter. And I didn't even tell the story of Esquanto. I'm not going to. He is just literally because, man, they're out there shooting up everything tonight. I live in the middle of the desert, so you're allowed to shoot guns. So it's not a big deal to hear somebody let off 100 rounds with their AR. But we have bigger land though, so you're allowed to shoot on your own land. But I hate to live in the city. I lived in an apartment all my life. And I just went, as soon as I moved out of my mom's house, I moved out of town practically. I did not like being cooped up next to people. And it turns out we're not supposed to actually live that way. But anyway, Deuteronomy 28 and 15. And this is just going to remind us why. Why did they come in? Why did the Most High let them destroy our crops? Why did the Most High let them rape us, all of our women, and take our daughters, and kill our sons, and kill us, and burn us? Burn down our houses in front of us, doing all this stuff right in front of us. And it gets so horrific. Some of the stories are just better left unsaid. But anyway, this is the exact reason why these things happened. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, to observe and do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So we're just going to immediately just go right into a curse. And thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Like I said, they raped our women, and some of these times they did it right in front of us. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. They burned the houses down. You know what? I build houses to this day. That's what I do for a living. That's why I get all the material from. I just take recycled material from the job site. But I build houses to this day for very wealthy people, and I don't get to live in those houses. You shall build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. I've actually worked on farms too, where I did all the work. I grew the plants from seed to the beautiful crops that they produced. And at the end, not only did they not want to pay me, they wanted me to pay them. I was like, what? So this stuff's real. I wasn't keeping the laws back then. I'm keeping the laws now, but I want to say I'm barely even keeping the laws. You know why? Because nobody can really keep these laws 100%. Because there's some things that we just can't really do right now. We can, well, here's a good example. Being part of the alphabet gang, the L, G, B, A, B, C, D, E, F, G's, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. It's an abomination to God, punishable by death. How would you punish them? You would stone them to death and bury them under a pile of rocks. You can't do that. You are not allowed to do that to this day. I mean, in this time. Now, these laws are going to come back into play. When his word does not change. All this stuff's coming back. But what can we do right now? And because we're not allowed to actually fulfill that law by stoning them to death and burying them under a pile of rocks, plus the Most High put grace in, right? So what do? We rebuke and avoid. You tell them their wrongdoings, and then you stay away from them, because you do not want to get caught up with them when Yahushua returns. So let's keep moving, though. Let's jump over to verse 32. And thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day, and there shall be no might in thy hand. So in other words, they're going to come in, they're going to swipe up your children and take them into slavery, or just some of them, they just ravage them and kill them. So the problem is that you're going to be sitting there hoping to see him again for the rest of your life with nothing you can do about it. Just wishing you could see him again with no might in your hands. There's nothing you can do to save him. Let's get another precept on that. Let's see if that's even in the Book of Deuteronomy, this is so real. Let's jump to the verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. You think only the people that came here on slave ships went into captivity? Well, hold on. Let's jump up to verse 68. Let's just jump over there. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I speak unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now, if you don't know the breakdown of that verse yet, maybe you're really new and you still need to study. I can understand that. But if you've been studying for a long time and you don't know about this, then you've got a problem already. You've got a major problem. And the Lord shall bring thee back into Egypt again. Now, we all know that you can't go to Egypt surrounded by fucking desert all the way around. You're not going to take a cargo merchant slave ship to Egypt. But what you will do is be taken into spiritual Egypt. Now, anybody that's got a dollar bill, flip it over, and if it's an American dollar bill, it's going to have a pyramid and an eagle on it, which are both representations of Egypt, and the eagle's also a representation of Romans. But you're going to go back into Egypt again on ships. You're going to go back into slavery. The word Egypt, now we got to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 1. And let's go to verse 2. I am Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Egypt is the house of bondage. So when you look up the word Egypt, it's not actually an Egyptian word. It's a Greek word that means slavery. The place that everybody calls Egypt is called Metzarim. Now let's get to the point. What is the point? Our people, the Gadites, my people, were taken back into slavery also on slave ships. We were removed from here and from the islands when Columbus came over, all Northern Kingdom. I'm not going with the whole Northern Kingdom right now, but also the Gadites were a part of that, where they would come in and they would steal thousands of people at a time and then put them on slave ships. Now, we're going to touch on the story of Esquanto. Esquanto was taken over to Europe. And somehow he escaped the slavery and was able to make it back to America. And then they used him as a translator because he could speak both languages. And that's as far as I'm going with Esquanto, because I have to read the story again on him so I don't start going off. So, going back to Deuteronomy 28 and 68 though, it shows that we were also forced into slavery on ships. The word Egypt means slavery. So when you watch how the transatlantic slave trade got started, you'll realize that it was hundreds of years before they went into Africa. And that's what timeline we're on right now. We're a couple hundred years before the transatlantic slave trade. So for all of you fools out there that said that the natives aren't Israelites and we don't meet up to the, we don't line up with these curses, you're a fool. You're a fool. You are a fool. And if you try to say, oh, well, you're light-skinned or this, that, or the third, you're a fool. You are dumb and you don't understand Scripture. And you shouldn't even, you should just take notes and listen. Bunch of fools out here telling me that my family isn't part of Yasharal when they literally reclassified us as niggas. Let's go back to the book of Hosea. Go to chapter 11. Back to chapter 11. And let's read verse 12. And Jacob fled into the country of Syria, and Israel served for a wife, and a wife he kept sheep, and for a wife he kept sheep. So, whoops, I'm sorry, that was the wrong, I was like, wait, I do that all the time. I went to the 4 and 11, I just jumped to 11 and 11, sorry about that. Chapter 4, verse 11. Whoredom and wine and new wine take away the heart. Whoredom and wine and new wine take away the heart. So, why were we forced into slavery? Let me read it again. Whoredom and wine and new wine. So, wine is wisdom, but new wisdom, what does that mean? False doctrine. We were worshiping false gods. That's why this is why Captain E came over and was able to just destroy us so easily. Which it really wasn't as easy as you think, but they're here. And we're living on specks of our own land being moved from one place to another, to another, to another. And the reason why they did that to us, you know why they kept moving the natives around? Because if we were over here, we knew our land. So they'd put us in a land completely different and just completely out of touch with what we were used to. So if we were living in hot weather, they'd try to put us in the coldest weather they could find. If we were living in the coldest weather they could find, they would put us all in the hot weather. So they were just trying to disorient us so we wouldn't be able to just use the environment to keep taking back what's ours. So it was very easy for us. So they would start shifting us around until it wasn't easy anymore and we were no longer in a place that was familiar. But let's keep going. Let's go to the book of Psalms. Chapter 55. And like I said, I'm just jumping around because I hate this holiday with all of my heart. When you find out that your family was raped, robbed, and murdered one day while you're eating your piece of turkey, you're what is this? Wait. What? So you really, I did not know any of this stuff until I didn't know the true story until I grew up. So when I was a kid, I was just like every other kid. I was just excited to see the family and this, that. And then even as a young adult, just excited to see the family. And then, I forget how I found out, but I didn't celebrate anymore. I haven't celebrated Thanksgiving since my 9-year-old he doesn't ever remember celebrating Thanksgiving. He's 9 years old. So I've only been studying these scriptures for 5. But yeah, so when you find out that it's your family getting killed, it's not the same anymore. It's like, it doesn't hit home as hard unless it's hitting your home, in other words. But anyway, let's go to Psalm 55, and let's start at verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So we were at peace at first with the settlers. I don't even know what to call them, honestly. We were at peace at first with these settlers, and they came in with these fake treaties. They made treaties, and then they would break the treaty, and then come in with a new treaty, just like they're doing right now in the government. They'll tell you one thing just to get in office, and then change all their policies, and then change everything they said. Look at Biden. He said, I would never do that. I wouldn't take all the gas in this and that situation. What did he do? He took 16 billion barrels of oil and gave it to China and India, but what do we have? We have higher gas prices. We have no stimulation in the economy. People can't even afford to buy food, let alone put together a freaking pagan holiday. I mean, all praise to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai that he always blesses his, so for Hanukkah we're set, and that starts Sunday. But that's not pagan, is it? But look what he's doing. Look what he's doing. It's the same. Let me read it again. Let's read it again. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. So you voted for him. Your president. He hath broken his covenant. Your president. You know what? Only reason why I'm saying this is because it's been happening since they took my family's village and burned it down and stole all of our food. They've been doing this ever since. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Your president. But war was in his heart. The words were softer than oil. The oil that he gave to China and India. Your president. And you know what? He was doing it all the way back in the early 1600s, 1500s, 1400s. Your president. Yet were they drawn swords. His words were smoother than butter, but really it was like he had a knife behind his back waiting for you just to look away for a second so he could cut your damn head off. And they've been doing that to us this whole time. Why? Why are they trying so hard to destroy us? What is the point of the destruction of the children of Israel? Because it's not just, you guys get out. Out, shorty, out. You're gonna come in here and start barking. Out. Come in here and start fighting in front. Go. Okay. Sorry about that. I got it. Habakkuk, chapter 1, we're going to start at verse 6. For lo, I raised up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the breadth of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. These settlers marched through our land. They destroyed everything in haste to make their own dwelling places, to possess all of this stuff that isn't even theirs. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. So they're gonna get judged. Ooh-wee. Their horses are also swifter than the leopards, and are more fierce than the evening wolves. And their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from far. They shall fly as the eagle that hasteth to eat. So they're coming in, and that hunger is to take everything. They want to fill their bellies with everything. And did you hear what it said? These horses fly like an eagle. So when you think about it, in today's time, the horsemen would be the pilots, and the eagles would be the fighter jets going in and bombing other countries. Now, this is in the past. Nowadays, yeah, we still do it. We still do it to this day. We go in and bomb the shit out of everybody. And I don't want to say we, because that's your president. You voted. I don't vote. My book here told me not to vote for an oppressor that's just going to lie in your face and not even keep his own treaties that he makes. Fake treaties. But what is the purpose of these evil E's? It's to take over every single place. It's to take our place. To say that they're us. Let's keep going. Let's find out. They shall come all for violence. Their faces shall soup up as the east wind, and they shall gather the captivity as the sand. They're just going to go in for the next couple 100 years and just start swooping and killing and smiting, scalping, pulling the babies out of the womb. Just everything that you guys saw in the transatlantic slave trade, there's nothing new under the sun. That shit was happening to us for hundreds of years before. Verse 10, and they shall scoff at the kings, and the princes shall be a scorn unto them. They shall deride every stronghold, and they shall heap dust and take it. Then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend, imputing this his power unto his God. So, like I said, everything that I just told you he is literally wants everything. And he's never gonna be satisfied. But when it's talking about in 9 and 10, it's talking about in verse 9, he shall come with the east wind. That gets back into that other class where it's talking about the bottomless pit. Same thing. That east wind and that bottomless pit are the same thing. It's Europe. So, Europe is a pit that has no fruit. That's why we know. But so that bottomless pit and the east wind, I just remembered I was talking about that last night. So that that east wind is also Europe. And let's go back over to the book of Genesis. And I hope I'm not jumping around too much, playing too much Hebrew hopscotch with you guys. But I'm honestly not going to stop. If anything, I'm going to get more of these up. Genesis 49. Let's read 1 and 2. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Okay? Let's read verse 2. Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Okay, so he's going to tell them what is going to happen in the future. So let's just skip right to the future of Gad. And that is skipping right to verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. So, what does it mean? Now, if you go into our history, who came to get us? The mounted troops. They had, what did they have? Horses that were fierce, right? Like wolves that flew across the ground as fast as eagles flew in the air. So they weren't actually able. Now this is funny though, because really, when Evil E came in and tried to get us, he wasn't very successful at it. If you want to know the truth, he had to get the Mexicans. He had to get the praying Indians, which are, I want to say that they're Siberians, but who knows? Because the Siberians come over, they have perfectly straight hair. They look like Asians. They don't look like niggas like us. But anyway, you got the Mexicans, the praying Indians. You've got the American American Army. They still couldn't beat us. So what did they do? Well, they went and got the slaves from the transatlantic slave. Yeah, the slaves from Africa. Yeah, Judah. And promised Judah 40 acres and a mule. And all they had to do was help take down these savage Indians. Which the word Indian in English, it means a savage. So they wanted help taking down these savages. So with all of them combined, fighting against us, they were finally able to take over and beat us. They were able to overcome us. Gad, a troop shall overcome him. So that troop had to get half of our tribes to fight against us to beat us. But he shall overcome at the last. And then another funny thing that I just remembered, with the praying Indians, they would be driving, they'd be rolling through the forest, and they just start shooting into the trees. Why? Because we wouldn't just stand in a damn line and let you fucking shoot at us. We would hide because we didn't want to get shot. We wanted to shoot you. So we would hide in the trees and in the bushes and bury ourselves underground. Where do you guys think you got guerrilla warfare from? That comes from us, the Gadites. You learned everything from us when it comes to war. That's all there is to it. Except for we're not savages. We just know how to protect ourselves according to Scripture the way the Most High told us to. But anyway, yeah, so the praying Indians, they'd go around shooting at everything. Why? Because they knew better. They knew that we were coming in every way, shape, and form. We were just going to be standing out there waiting for them like dumbass British. The redcoats are coming. The French are coming. Let's all line up and shoot at each other. Ready, aim, fire. Okay, your turn. You gotta be fucking joking. That is not how we do it. Nope. But anyway, Andrew Jackson led the fight that ultimately took us down. Let's go ahead and get Isaiah. So who took us down? Andrew Jackson led that charge, didn't he? So, but let's go ahead and go to the book of Isaiah. And chapter 65. And the reason why I always read out of the Bible, and I have plenty of computers and laptops, I just really like being in the book. I like touching the pages and searching through it. Maybe I saw something over here that I didn't even notice out the corner of my eye. It's just a little bit, it's just a little bit different than, and I have Bibles on the laptops too, so it's not like I don't. I just really like to, if I have the opportunity, I want to be able to be in the book. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 65, and we're going to start at verse 11. But ye are they that forsake Yahweh, that forgot my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish a drink offering unto that number. Therefore I will number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. What does Most High hate the most? Worshipping false gods. Oh, what do they worship? They be worshiping the sun, they worship the moon, they worship the stars, they worship the spirit of the wolf, the spirit of the eagle, the spirit of worshiping the creature more than the creator. But anyway, let's read some more. Let's read it again. Let's read that again. But ye are they that forsake the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, that forgot my holy mountain, that prepare a table for a troop. Like I said, the Thanksgiving that you guys are thinking of, we taught them that preparing the table for the troop, we taught them how to grow food. We taught them how to grow their own food. And what did they do? They killed us for it. And why? Because we're so proud and high-minded, we didn't put Yahweh and Bahashem Yahweh Shai first. These scriptures haven't changed in thousands. They've never changed, except for the people that will keep rewriting the book. But the original scriptures stay the same. So they should have been saying Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai at this time, when they were taken over by a troop. When my forefathers were taken by that troop, we should have been screaming. But you know what? If the dude's grabbing you by the hand, this is when it's too late. He's got you. It's too late to pray and ask for help now. Now you got to suffer the consequences of not keeping the Most High's instruction. You didn't follow instruction. You didn't get to go where you wanted to. But let's talk about that table. Since the Thanksgiving dinner is a complete ritual, let's find out what it is. The turkey is the body of our people. So that turkey represents the Gadites. The stuffing, that's all the atrocities that were done to us. The cranberries, that's the spirit of blood. And so on and so forth. It goes into there's a bunch of other stuff too. Those are the three that I know of. And that spirit of blood it's our blood, because our blood was spilled all over this land. And remember, this land can't rest until their blood is spilled so it can have rest. So let's go back to the book of Hosea. I'm just going to keep going until I run out of precepts. Everybody, they'll freaking eat turkey until they burst. I'm going to keep reading until I run out of precepts. Book of Hosea. And let's go to chapter 7. And then we're going to read we're going to start at verses 8 and 9. And this is another reason why we were put in captivity. We were going off. We were supposed to come to this land to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, which we didn't keep in our own land. But when we got to this land, we just went back to the same things we were doing in the other land, except we didn't have other people tearing us down. So verse 8, Ephraim hath mixed himself amongst the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Strangers have devoured his strength. Other nations have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth not. So let's get a precept on that. Let's get a precept on that. So I can regain my train. Daniel 5 and Daniel 9 and 5 through 10. So let's go to Daniel chapter 9, and we'll start at verse 5. We have sinned, we have committed iniquity, we have done wickedly and have rebelled. Even, the word even is an old English word that means indeed. So indeed, by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments. What did I tell you? We weren't keeping the law. We weren't keeping the law. We were going off. And over thousands of years, we weren't the only ones out here in this land anymore either. There was other people in this land. Like I said, how did the Siberians get over here? They were calling themselves Native Nation too, right? Neither have we hearkened unto thy servants the prophets, which spake in thy name to our kings, our princes, our fathers, and to all the people of the land. So we were foretold that this was going to happen to us if we didn't follow the instruction. O Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces at this day. The men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all the Israel that are near and far off, through all the countries, whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespasses. They have trespassed against thee. So you see that? How would I say it? We're not only scattered to the four corners of the earth for not keeping the precepts and the judgments that the Most High gave us, that we were foretold by our forefathers and the prophets and the teachers. To all of our forefathers, they were taught this stuff. We weren't even taught it. We had to come back and find it. But the confusion of face. You guys, you're I want to use the right word. Shamefulness. You're shameful in your face. The Lord, O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. So it's telling you that we're shameful. The Lord our God belongeth mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. So, like in the other verse, a troop will overtake thee, but in the end you will you'll I forget how it goes now. The troop will overtake you, but in the end you will take back over. You'll get back on shore. Is what I was saying. But anyway, we didn't keep the laws, and now we're suffering the consequences for that, to the point where 90% of us don't even know that this stuff happened or ever existed. Let's keep going. Let's go to Proverbs. Everything that I teach is about following the Most High's laws. Even if I say the laws are done away with, yeah, to be of you can keep the laws all you want, but you ain't getting into the kingdom that way. You have to keep the laws in faith. So if you can't do them in faith, what's the point? In other words, you have to have faith in God. You can't just, he knows. That's why he says he knows your heart. He searches your soul. You are not getting into this kingdom just because you put your fringes on and you went to the classes on Saturday. That's not going to fly. That's what's so funny to me. I've had multiple visions of the kingdom. I don't even tell nobody except for one person I've told. And it's only because I trust him. So I'm not one about it. I trust you. But I don't really tell them to anybody else. And I've only told him maybe one or two out of so many. It's just dumb. Not dumb, but it just seems like it's not real. So I don't even bring it up. Let's go to let's go to Proverbs chapter 15 in verse 17. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hated therewith. Yeah, I chewed that up. Let's try again. Hey, out! You hear these dogs in here? They're coming here to fight. Let's try it again. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hated wherewith. They were plotting to rob and kill us. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is. Better is to have less and be around people that care about you than have everything that you think you want, but really you're hated by everyone. But the crazy thing is that they've always been plotting to kill us. They've always been pushing this narrative to get rid of us. And they do it so smooth and subtle, you think that they're your friend until the next thing you know, their hands are tied and you're broke their law, so you have to go into their death chamber. And they've been doing it all of our lives. All right. Speaking of not following their laws, their pagan holidays, let's see what the Most High has to say about Thanksgiving. And then I think I'm going to I think I'm just gonna let it go there. Let's see what the Most High thinks of their Thanksgiving. Let's go to Amos chapter 5, and we're going to start at verse 21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy vows. But let judgment run down as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream. See, this is the part I'm waiting for too. They have been celebrating this pagan holiday of killing my family for over 400 or 500 years now. 400, at least 400 years. A little bit over. I don't know exactly how long it's been right now, but this is what I'm waiting for. Let judgment run down as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream. I want to see the judgment on these people. I can't wait to see them get judged for what they've done to my family. And some of you, what they've done to your family. You know, I just want to say, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, I just hope you were able to get something out of this message. I hate Thanksgiving. It really wasn't even a class. I just had a bunch of precepts from notes. I take notes on everything. Luckily, because the elder I've been studying under for the last couple of years, I took all his classes down. I don't got no one to study under now. I mean, I do, but what happens when I want to refer back to one of the 3,000 classes they took down? How am I going to get that? I can't. It's the famine of the word has started. See, they come in real slow and just take, it's just like this. If I were to pluck one page of this book out at a time, and just start pulling pages. This one's a better example. The pages are already loose. So if I just did that and then closed the book, you wouldn't notice the page was missing. So this is what they did to Amon 1. They took him out, and you don't really notice it because you still have all these other people to listen to. For whatever. Come in again and take another page. Take another one and another, and another and another and another. Next thing you know, it looks like there's some pages missing out of this book. What happened to these guys? Where did they go? Oh, they must have just fell out of the truth. I knew they wasn't in the spirit. But really, they've been shadow banned, and they've been kicked off of YouTube. Better watch out. It's coming. And what are you going to do when it gets here? He's going to say, "For I did not know you." And I do not know you. Israel, I hope nobody's out there eating Thanksgiving dinner right now. I just really hope you guys can understand that you have an option. You Gucci man that shit. You have an option. Fast on that day. You have an option to, well, I could pray over it and pray it back safe and pray to my God and make it clean. You could do that. Or you have an option. Don't take part. Shalom.